You can write your name on the back. I like to use my pencil or pen, doesn't matter. And write your name and whatever paper you're using, either write on the back or if it's a sketchbook off to the side. Just your name, today's date, 10/11/23, and where you are. I'm going to put Zoom 11-week series. And you can write whatever you want to evening tangle, just to remind you where you were when you did your tile. Relaxing. The goal is to relax, let go, and draw slow. Be in the present moment, let go of the outcome. And take a moment once you're done writing on the back, and just whatever paper you're using today, take a moment to admire it, recognize it, be mindful. Maybe you've got some edges that feel the quality of the paper, and if you have a tile, turn that over. Actually, I think I told you to bring some scrap paper. So to put that tile aside for a moment, get out your scrap paper. We're going to we're not going to spend much time on scrap paper. And I'm going to share my screen with you. I want to show you, today is Fun with Fescu. And I want to show you all the different ways you can do fescue. This is something, some of you may have seen this. I grabbed it somewhere from the internet, and I love this. This just shows you, take a moment and look at this. Look at the stems. Look at the heads. We've got different widths. We've got different shapes, really different shapes of the stems, of the heads. Some are big, some are small, some are round, some are teardrop shapes, some are colored in differently, some are wiggly, some are curved. And now I'm going to show you another one, another fescue I found online. And then another one, you can see how different that is. And that one's orid. And there's another, look how cool that is. So as many people there are in this world, is how many different ways to draw fescue, and there's a cool one I found. And I also am going to show you the original one. Believe it or not, I really can't believe this is the original one from Zentangle headquarters. This is the step out for it. It's very curvy. And I think, I see fescue more with not so curvy, just kind of a line. Now, before you write on your scrap paper, I'm going to show you. These are some that I came up with. So this is a little curvy one. So look, each one is very different, and it's all fescue. So I'm going to leave that there and take your scrap paper and draw some fescues. Actually, I'll show you the one that, what's very, very common is just kind of a curved arc with a loop. I always call it a loop on the edge. But as you can see, and maybe all of you have done fescue before, I'm sure many of you have, if not all of you. And how do you do it? So, and maybe do it a different way. Maybe just experiment for a moment, because we're going to be able to experiment on the tile as well, on our design. And so I'm going to show you again these samples. Just take a moment and draw a few fescues any way you like. See how this one is kind of curved over, that one goes up. You can put different designs in them. Little highlight. I'm sure you all might come up with something totally different, but just this class is to relax, but also this theme is to kind of be aware of all the different things we can do with fescue. And now I'm going to show you all the different patterns, and these are just some. And I'm going to show you, and then we're going to go right to our patterns. This is, so Toodles is this one, and it starts out with fescue. So this is all patterns with fescue in them. So here's Toodles, here's Dude, and I spelled it right here, D-E-W, and this starts off with a fescue here, and then it just gets orid. This is scaraboo, starts off with these fescues. This one is gust, starts off with like this here, then gets orid. And then this is tidings. So these start just like this one here, like kind of an S shape. And then flu, I like flu, it's just it's just orid. And then fluish, that's fluish. We're going to be doing something similar to this today. We've got sprinkle. Sprinkle starts off like this here, and then becomes that. Flux Q starts off with these fescues and then gets orid, and put these little things here. And this is, I like this pattern. I don't know why. I just discovered this, even though El Prada, I want to have some fun with this. This is great. A great way to experiment with all different fescue shapes. Really cool. And this is damsel leaf. Starts kind of with a fescue first and then adds all these little doodads. Then we have frunky. You can see how it starts with. And then this is one that I created called Deb Ann, and it was a grid and fragment, and it's all fescues. That's all it is. You know, she put there's 3 of them in each square, and I'll show you. I have right here. This is a sample of what it looks like in the grid. It's all fescues. That's it. So, okay. So we're going to go to our, I know that was quick, but I just wanted, we don't have that much time, and I wanted to just give you an idea. So now you can go to your tile if you have one, pick up your pencil, and we're going to draw our string. And if you have a piece of scrap paper, if you're using paper or sketchbook, you can draw a square. This is 3.5 inches, but it doesn't matter how big it is. Or you could don't have to draw a square at all. You can still do your string. So what we're going to do, these marks are to remind me where I want it to go. And we're going to just somewhere around right here, it's off-centered, and again, everything's a suggestion, so it doesn't matter where, but I'm going to do a slightly wavy, I'm using the side of the tip of the pencil, side of the tip, so we can blend that later. You could do that down, you could do it curved over, just kind of a wavy line from top to bottom. It could be on an angle or straight down. And then we're going to come out. This is not an aura, because we're going to be doing something inside of this. So we want to come out a little bit and do it again, and then kind of close it in. So it doesn't have to be too big, but not too small. And that's our string. So we could put down our pencil when you're done with that, and then pick up your pen. I'm using the 01 micron pen, but of course you can use anything you want. And we're going to start with, we're going to do 3 patterns that were not on the chart that I just showed you. And we're going to start with the pattern Dinoflor, and you'll all get an email with the patterns names of what we're doing today. And we're going to, it starts with a fescue. Surprise, surprise. So you can start, we're going to use this whole section here, this first right section. And you can always go over the lines if you want to. So we're just going to start with a fescue any way you like. So what I'm encouraging to do is we're going to keep drawing these fescues, and I'll show you how in a moment. But every time we do it, you can draw it, maybe think about doing it differently. So it's always drawing one off of it. So maybe I'll put a little curve to this one, and maybe I'll round that one. And now we're going to go off of this stem and go any direction you want. And you might not even want to think about it. Just think about drawing some type of a fescue any way you like, filling up this section, going as big, going in any direction you want. And you can do all the same. If this is one shape you like, you can, and you want to just stick with it, that's okay. Doesn't matter. Nothing matters in Zentangle. This is all for you to relax, have fun. And we're just going to keep doing this And it doesn't matter if you're alternating side by side. The whole idea is just draw another one off of the one you just drew. And if you decide you want to go back and kind of go, like I could start, you don't have to keep doing that. You can come over down here and maybe do another one, cross over. That's okay. But you don't want to do too much of that because there's a lot more to this pattern. So we're just gonna experiment with the different stems, loops, focusing on each stroke, drawing nice and slow, breathing into it. Not trying to do it like me. Do whatever feels nice to you. I'm going to add another one here, a little bit sexy. So the next step to this pattern, and if you're not ready yet, that's okay. Some of you are, so I want to just give you the next step, is to color in the heads, the tips, heads, whatever, any way you like. So you can color the whole thing in solid, and you can experiment with each one. If you remember, I showed you this here. You put I had orbs in some, a highlight, little grid. So you can do whatever you like. Maybe put in some arc lines in one of them. Taking your time, relaxing, enjoying. I've got a little highlight in that one. I just saw a question, if I would email that page. Yes, I will email a copy of the page that I was showing you with all the different patterns. In the email, I'll attach a photo to it. So I am going to show you the next step to this pattern. And in each little indent here, we're going to create this arc shape. You can color that in, and then aura that a few times, once, twice, 3 times, whatever feels nice to you. And just find some randomly. You don't have to do all of them. You're just cornering them off, drawing some lines. And one more thing to this pattern, one more step to this pattern is we're going to aura the heads of these fescues. You can give it 1 or 2 auras, or no auras, or more auras. It doesn't matter. Whatever you would like to do. I'm going to put 2 around each one. So I'm going to move on to the next pattern now. Remember, you can go back to this anytime you want. Start the new pattern with us. The goal is not to finish the tile. The goal is to always go nice and slow and be relaxed. And, you know, we only have an hour, so you can always continue tangling after a class tonight, or another day. But this one, we are going to do Konk, which is similar to fluish. All right, and to show you what fluish is, this is a fluish. So it's going to be very similar to this, but not exactly. So we're going to use this nice, cool or thingy that we did. And we're going to start with a fescue, of course. And I'm just going to trace along the edge. You don't have to, but I think that's a nice way to start. Actually, I probably shouldn't. No, it doesn't matter, actually. So, and then I'm going to, now with this fescue, what we do with this pattern is we're going to come around and we're going to come up and give it a little color in that little head. So that's important for this pattern, to kind of give it almost like you're doing a spiral, but we just have that kind of like a droopy fescue. And then we're going to kind of give it this arc. So we're going to just kind of just close it up like that. So all I did, I started to trace along that spiral and then I closed it up. And now I'm going to put in some orbs here. I'm going to trace along the edge, touch the top one. So these orbs are sitting along the stem and touching the previous one. Doesn't matter how many, how big, doesn't matter. And if I have any little white spaces, you can kind of color those in, give it a little drama. Kind of like a centipede or something. And now we're going to aura this. So when I started to say, oh no, I should do that, I remembered we don't have to stick within the lines, and we've got some space. I have some space here. I don't know if you do, but if you don't, just go behind it. We're going to aura this fescue that we drew. So we're just going to give it a thin or tight aura. Actually, it doesn't matter if it's thin or tight, but give it one aura to start with. And then the next aura is going to come in a little bit shorter and then end a little bit shorter. We've done many different patterns like this. And then we're going to keep going as far as you want. And I'm going to actually have mine go right underneath my Dinoflor pattern. Because that's where I ended up doing it. And then I'm going to aura the other side. We're just going to be one aura. So just these arc, kind of giving those orbs a little tight aura, just so it doesn't get lost in the other one that we do. So we're going to do this pattern, and I'll walk you through the next one, and then we're going to fill up this section with this pattern. And I love this pattern. I think it's real pretty when we fill up these. So the next one, you can do it any way you like. I think what I'm going to do is come down, kind of do it upside down in a way. Now you can always turn your tile if you want to do it the way we did it, but this is, I'm just, if you want to do it right side up, well, there's no right side up in Zentangle, but if you want to do it the first way. So I'm kind of having it meet there. Remember that little curve. And then we close it up with this arc. And then we draw our orbs right along the stem where they're touching. And they don't have to touch. It's all a suggestion. Everything I present is a suggestion. You all know to listen to your inner artist. If you feel like doing something totally different than what you hear, that is your inner artist coming through, and do not shut her out. Anything goes in Zentangle. The purpose is to relax and draw whatever feels good to you, letting go of the outcome, focusing on being in the present moment. And I'm going to aura these orbs. And you can just fill it up any way you like. And you can always go out of the line. So just because we have a border there, yes, we're going to put a pattern here too, but there's still space. If you want to go over the string line, it's always allowed. The pencil is just a suggestion, a guide to keep us where we want to put a pattern, that's all. Whatever you draw, you're meant to draw. Now, if you want to, if you have some space like I do in between, you can either color it in or put in little orbs, or leave them alone. We can put in some shading there later, or you can do a combination of both. Now, when you get a minute, I would like you to cap your pens and or put your pen down for a moment, stretch your body, shake your wrists. Just you can stay seated if you like. Just move around. Just give your body a little break from holding that pen, maybe leaning over. So I'm just moving my shoulders, my neck from side to side, shaking out my wrists, moving my hips back and forth. And then in a moment, we're going to do the third pattern tonight, and then we're going to do some shading. And I'll tell you, this is not my goal for every night. This is a lot of patterns. More, I really want us to relax and go slow. But again, it doesn't matter if you finish, but the future weeks will probably only have one or two patterns, or if we do three, it'll still be relaxed, but my goal is to do one or two each week. So, and they're all different. Oh, I've got the whole session already. I've got more than 11 sessions planned because I had so many great ideas for us, but we'll get them in there. So now I'm going to move on to the third pattern, which is ukulele. Does not look like a ukulele. Patterns are not supposed to be named after what they look like, even though some are. But we're going to start with a fescue. So you can start anywhere at all in this section. I'm going to start on the bottom, right about here, I think. And I'm just going to come out, do any kind of fescue you like, any kind at all. I'm going to color it in. You don't have to. You might want to wait and decide if you want to color it in or put something else in there, but I just want to color it in. So get one fescue down, and this is fairly large, but it doesn't matter, whatever. And now we're going to aura this fescue. So you can aura it any way you'd like. I usually like to start around the head and come all the way down, and then I'll finish over here. But we're giving it a full aura so that full fescue is in the middle and it has a full aura around it. But again, if there's something else you prefer to do, if your inner artist is coming through and saying, oh, I want to do something totally different, do it, do it, do it, do it. That's how many patterns are created. And now, off of the head, I like to call it the petal, the head, We're going to start to do a wavy line. Leave a little bit of a space. I think I'll zoom in a little bit here. And go all the way around, giving it this wavy line. Going all the way around the head. Leaving space in between. So these are not auras, these are just kind of like looks like a little spider. Actually, there's a big space here, so I'm just going to do another one here. And then we're going to connect these little, what looks like spider legs on my tile anyways, and we're going to connect them by just giving it a wavy line to connect them. Just kind of start to go in and out. And in and out. Down and up. Down and up. And then what really makes this pattern come alive are little flicks. Just cute little flicks that come from the bottom of these petals, if you will, from the aura of the head. Just little flicks. That one went a little too far. And what I also like to do with these, well, I'm going to wait. I'll show you now. You can either aura this whole thing or put some weight on it. So like they call this what, rounding or weighting. So kind of just bring in one area of that petal if you'd like. You turn your tile. So basically what I'm doing here, I'm sure a lot of you have, oh, what did I just do? Okay. Okay. There we go. Push the wrong button. So like it's kind of like the takeoff and land that Rick always talks about. You start to draw along and then you take off and then land. And giving it a little bit of a weight you can color in there. Or you can just kind of go over it with your pen if you'd like. Just gives a little drama. And that's that pattern. Now, one thing that you could add to it if you'd like, and you can go back and forth too, I'm going to add it on here, is I'm going to put some fescues in each one of these petals. So you can do it any way you like. Put a little fescue. You can make it wiggly, go in any direction you want. And that's just, totally optional. If that's something you'd like to do, you could do one or the other, flicks or fescues, or both, or nothing, or something totally different. So I'm going to continue with this pattern and fill up this whole section. And if you want, they can overlap, they can go underneath. For example, my inner artist is telling me to go underneath. So I'm going to go underneath with my fescue. Only because I feel like it. And as Molly always says, because I can. I guess Maria says that too. I guess they all say that. The founders of Zentangle. And I'm oraing, going underneath. And then I'll do my little wavy legs. Imagining those petals are underneath. Flicks. And then I might go underneath this stem also. But you do whatever, have fun with it, make it your own. Don't think about it, just do it. You can have one coming down from the top. In about a minute or two, we will start doing some shading. But if you're not ready for shading, you can always watch the recording later or shade on your own. Many of you already know how to shade. There's more than one way to shade. Okay, so I'm going to start to do some shading. If you're not ready, you can keep doing what you're doing. Absolutely fine. But we do need to do our tortilla on toast, and we're going to do it quickly so we have some time at the end to chat. And our chat can always go longer for anybody who wants, but I like to keep the class to the time. So I'm going to come back to you. I want you to get your tortillons. Go to gallery view temporarily. You can unmute yourselves. Hold up your tortillon, and when I count to 3, we're all going to say tortillon. Any way you like. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Tortillon. Beautiful. Why is my face all red? Beautiful. Okay, so go back to speaker view. I will mute everyone, so if you're unmuted, don't worry. I'll get you there. Just relax. Okay. All right, so we are going to now pick up our pencil and do a little bit of shading. And I'm going to go right into the middle one, Konk, because this pattern really has the most effect when we do some shading. So let's see. I think we'll do a little bit along the edges of these layers using the side of the tip of the pencil always. And I'm also going to go a little bit inside here, like underneath that first, like the fescue, really, that fescue we drew, maybe a little bit there. Taking our tortillon and smoothing it out with little circular motions or back and forth. And then taking, once that tortillon's dirty, I can always, because it's so small, I can do a little dabbling here. I can actually do the shading on the other hunks. And if you've got some pencil there, you can grab that pencil from the string and bring that in maybe and give it a little shading, whether it's a shading along the edge or bringing that into the pattern or both. And you don't have to, but my inner artist is telling me to grab that shading. Oh, you probably can't see. That was there before, and just kind of give it a little bit of, and then go back to each one of these conks just along the sides and inside. And if you want to shade differently, you may do that. And I'm gonna take what's left of my tortillon, and if I have an aura over here on Dinoflor, maybe a little bit, using my tortillon on either side of this fescue that I put stripes in. Yeah, I have a grid, so I'll color in with just dabbing with some of these little areas with some graphite, and getting a little bit on the auras here, maybe just like right on the bottoms, and then push it up a little bit. So the sides of these. So I'm going to actually pick up my pencil, and these sides right here, I'm going to put a little graphite there, and I'm going to put a little bit on either side of my highlight. I'm going to push this up and maybe go a little bit darker on the top part, leaving some highlights on the middle, getting those sides of these little thingies. If it's small, sometimes I'll just dab, and wherever it goes, just to get a little bit of graphite in there. Really makes a difference. It doesn't even matter where it goes sometimes. And this is why, I'm really going to keep it to 1 or 2 patterns, because I don't want to rush through anything during this time. And so I'm going to go into this ukulele, and I'm going to put a little shading around the aura of the head of that fescue, which is like the bottom of the petals. And I'm going to do a little bit on the bottoms of the stems. So I've got bottoms of the stems here, where it goes underneath. I might even dab a little bit on the tops of these petals, calling them petals. So I've got the bottoms of the stems, bottom of the petals, and then with what's left of my tortillon, I'll dab a little bit on top of the petals if there's enough room. Take a look at what you've done. Remember, if you're not done, you can continue working on it. Sorry about that. And I want you to make sure you sign it. Even if you're not done, you can sign your artwork any way you like. I just put my initials with a little doodad. You can date it if you want to. And you can continue working on this for all night, all week, all year. It's never done. Well, I shouldn't say that. It is done, but it doesn't have to be done. You can keep adding to it whatever you want. But take a moment and admire what you've done tonight. And we're going to do our group mosaic, where we'll all come together, hold up our tiles, and take a photo. I'm going to end the recording. So for those of you who couldn't make it, hope you enjoyed the recording, and see you next time.